Hey guys, so today I want to do kind of like a weekly reset recap or rate this week's update sort of video. So we are approaching part 2 of Legends Festival 2022, and I've seen a lot of people with a lot of different, I don't even know if I want to say different, but just a lot of people with some very strong opinions is what I'll say regarding this week's update and just for Legends Festival as a whole. But I don't know if I'm going to make this like a normal thing moving forward, but I think just in terms of this being Legends Festival and in my opinion, this not really living up to the hype that it should be, I'm going to be giving my opinions on what we received during this week's update, what we could be seeing next week, and the way I would like to see the game progress forward as we move into the later portion of Legends Festival. So the first thing I will just mention, the reason why I have this banner pulled up is because this Sparking Limit Break banner usually is indicative of when we should be able to see the next hype banner release. So this banner, this is how you could tell. Ready? This banner ends on the 10th of December, right? Which is a Saturday. So this is ending Saturday, and then you have basically 3 days until reset. That's the weekly reset. Which basically means 3 days after this end date is when we should expect to see the next, major banner, the next LF character, next Ultra character, whatever the next character is going to be for Legends Festival, whether it's an Ultra or LF, I couldn't tell you, but I'm assuming it's an LF. I think the structure is going to be LF Ultra, like we saw during the anniversary. I think it's going to be the same sort of thing, but just scrunched together a little bit more compactly, I guess. And the reason why you always look 3 days after this is because if you guys know how the Limit Break Z power, actually, I guess this is different, huh? They sort of changed the way that this works now. The way that this used to work is you would straight up get Z power for summoning on these banners. And what would happen is if you already had the Z power in your inventory, the extra Z power that you would have gotten goes straight to your gift box, and once it enters your gift box, you have 3 days to accept them before they expire and get destroyed. So the reason why you always look at this is because they're trying their hardest to not allow you to hoard extra Z power in your gift box for when the next big banner comes out. They kind of stopped this just because instead of giving directly the Z power out from summoning, they give you these medals, which you can then exchange for the Z power. But I am pretty sure, I haven't checked this, but I guarantee if you go and check the exchange shop, I'll actually pull it up while I'm talking. If you go and check the exchange shop, I'm pretty sure that the exchange shop is only going to go until 3 days after this banner goes away. Like that's when this exchange shop will probably expire, which again means that you won't be able to just stock up on these medals so that you'll be able to exchange for more Z power when the new banner comes out, because they don't want you stocking up on this stuff. That's the reason why they do that. But also, just in addition to that, the fact that it's just a normal time, I guess, to get the next part for this celebration. So I'm assuming this part 2 banner is going to be coming out on Wednesday the 14th / Tuesday the 13th, and then I actually think a week and a half later, so I'm talking the 23rd, 24th, the 22nd to the 24th, somewhere in that time span, I expect to get the Ultra for this year. If you guys go back and look at the prior 2 Legends festivals, they all came out, or the part 3 or the final part of both Legends festivals, they came out, I think Gogeta Blue and Broly came out on the 22nd, and then I believe Ultra Gogeta came out on the 23rd, I think, just right before Christmas. And they do that on purpose, right? They want to get all this stuff in right before the Christmas stuff happens, before New Year's, because that's when people have the most money available to spend on this game. So I think we're going to be getting an LF on the 14th, and then literally a week and a half later, maybe even less than a week and a half later, we're going to be getting the Ultra. So a lot of stuff's going to be coming out here in terms of summonable characters. But that's something I wanted to point out for this banner. I think that's where we're headed in terms of spacing for the celebration. So to get into the actual characters, by the way, I did just check on that exchange shop. The exchange shop expires at reset of when the banner should come out, which makes sense. They don't want you stocking up on the Z power. So I'm going to go in order of good to bad. And I wouldn't even really say the good is that good for this update. I have all the stuff pulled up here that I think is of note to discuss today. Just everything that we received as part of this update, everything that's notable at least. So the first thing I want to talk about is Zenkai Purple Rose Goku Black. And I've already seen a lot of people talk negatively about this Zenkai. I've seen a lot of people say he sucks, blah, 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 blah. And I will admit for sure, 100%, that this character is not anywhere close to as good as the Zenkai Super Saiyan 4 Goku that we got prior to Legends Festival. The yellow Super Saiyan 4 Goku, that is a very, very good Zenkai character. That is the best Zenkai character we've gotten in a very long time. And I think if you were expecting this Rose to be on that level, I think you were probably expecting a bit too much. That Super Saiyan 4 Goku Zenkai was definitely, I would consider, an outlier in the strength of LF Zenkais, even among, again, LF Zenkais, which typically are pretty good. But I don't think this Rose even comes close to as good as that Super Saiyan 4 Goku. But that's not to say this Rose is bad. I think people calling this guy bad and underwhelming probably are wrong. The one comment I'll make about this Rose in terms of his actual his effectiveness in battle is this is a character, and I remember even talking about this when he first released, because this is the same argument people were making when he first came out. There were a horde of people talking about how trash and terrible this guy was when he first came out. And I think I was in the very, very small minority of players who actually liked this character when he released. He certainly wasn't the strongest character in the game, especially because of all the strong yellow characters that existed, right? We had Gogeta Blue, we had Future Gohan, so releasing this character after those guys is just like, well, it's not the greatest meta for him. But he had a lot of tools, right? He had the endurance nullification. He can destroy Dragon Balls. He's drawing a lot of cards with facing an enemy. He has the type neutral blue card that does AoE damage. He already had, prior to his Zenkai, he already had this, the minus 100% enemy sustained damage code effects. That's a super mega powerful ability still. But he had good tools. Long range priority gaining green card. His ultimate hit pretty hard. But the thing that makes this guy a bit different than a lot of the other top tier characters in the game, I don't even think I would consider this guy to be like super top tier, but most top tier characters in the game basically take no thought to use, right? Take a look at Beast Gohan. You press cards, you press your blue card, you like literally just do whatever you want and you can win. The tag Super Saiyan 4s, I would say, are a little bit less that design, but still, I wouldn't really consider them those characters taking a lot of quote-unquote skill to use. And it's not like I'm saying this Rose takes, oh my god, you have to be immensely skilled to use this Rose. Like that's not what I'm saying. But I feel like this Rose, if you're able to master a lot of the mechanics that he brings to the table, you'll be able to effectively use him. Like knowing when to, use this green card, knowing exactly when to, capture enemies sidestepping off of a strike cancel, how to override your opponent's blast from long range. Knowing when to drop combo is very, very important with this character because of the... Let me just press the Zenkai button here. It didn't even bring up the extra thing. Okay. Well, this guy, if you guys remember his kit, he gets some extra buffs from his attack being over, very similar to how LF Android 17 and 18 work. So this guy gets key card draw speed, and he inflicts the enemy with health restoration debuffs every time his attack is over. So if you drop combo, that's going to activate. You're going to have card draw speed. You're going to get some key back. You're going to reset the combo compensation. Like, that's a really strong thing for this Rose to be doing. It's going to activate off of tackles, off of tap attacks, off of quick attacks. So you want to sort of change up your playstyle of how this guy works. You really have to know how to use... This might sound stupid to a lot of people, but it actually does, I think, matter in this case. Know how to use your Rising Rush. In a lot of cases, you can just press the Rising Rush and that's fine. But because this guy brings the endurance nullification to the table, I think you want to try and pinpoint your rush to a point in the match where you're almost guaranteed to nullify endurance, whether it's Beast Gohan, Future Gohan, Ultra Super Vegito, any of those strong characters that have endurance right now. But I think this Rose is probably underrated already. I think his Zenkai is really good. And then, of course, the biggest thing for this character, his Zenkai, is just the Z ability, Zenkai ability combo for bench, right? This is a very similar Zenkai and Z ability combo that we saw with LS Super Saiyan 4 Goku Zenkai, where pretty much forever into the future, this guy will be an insane bench character. He's giving Purple Future, the Zenkai ability, but then he's giving 37% strike and blast, as well as an extra 18% to blast, or sorry, strike attack and defense, and then 18% to blast for these specific tags. So he's going to be giving a lot of stats to, you know, Purple Future characters here, which Future, you guys know how much Future gets buffed, so I don't really expect that tag to fall off anytime soon. And we'll definitely see a lot of characters in the future that are able to take advantage of this guy's Z ability plus Zenkai ability combination. So overall, I'm not really feeling too bad about this Rosé. I've already had a lot of matches since he released where he's carried the match for me. And I actually do like the way that they designed him. He would have benefited a lot from cover nullification, and I kind of do wish he had some way of getting it. Whether it was, you know, basically the same way that Super Saiyan 4 Goku gets it, where you have to have a dead ally and he gets it for a few counts on switch in, that would be fine. Maybe the enemy switches and uses, maybe, what if this Rosé picked up cover change nullification, special cover change nullification, after his attack is over? Like, that same mechanic, he picked up cover null. So you quick attack somebody, you go for a combo, you catch them in a combo, they can't cover change anymore for a few counts, like 5 counts. That's all you need. I think that would have been pretty good for this character. I think that wouldn't have been too strong, and it would have made him that little bit much better, I think, to where people wouldn't really be super underrating this character. But yeah, I feel like he's fine. Could he have been better? Absolutely. But I think with what he brings to the table, I'm not that disappointed here. So this is like the, in my opinion, probably the best thing that they did this update, which is, again, I'm not really calling this guy the savior of the meta or anything, but yeah. All right, so next we're going to move on to the free-to-play green Fusion Zamasu here. And the reason why I don't have this guy like dead last and how bad this is because he's a free unit. And this character as a free unit is not designed to be like a main option for your teams. You take a look at all the free characters that are, we can even pull up the event exclusive list here. The one thing Legends has been pretty good and consistent with this year is releasing free characters on a consistent basis. We have gotten a lot of free units this year. Granted, they're all copy and paste models and animations, which should make it pretty easy to do for them. But I'm still happy that we get free characters, right? I think when you compare this Zamasu to like pretty much every single free-to-play character we've got this year, besides like Majin Vegeta, who's actually probably, is he the worst character they've ever released in terms of the worst character they've ever released corresponding with their time period that they came out. This Majin Vegeta released during the 4th anniversary. He's like the worst sparking ever or something. Like, he's so bad. You compare this Merge Zamasu to every single free-to-play character besides this Majin Vegeta, and also I would probably put like well, I guess he's not event exclusive, but the Giblet that just came out, or the Saiyan in Red that just came out, he's also pretty bad. I would actually say this purple Super Saiyan Gogeta is pretty bad. This Krillin from the 4th anniversary is also pretty bad, but I think, like, besides Majin Vegeta, this guy might be the worst free-to-play character we've gotten, maybe. Like, you take a look at this guy, compare this guy to Super 17. Compare this guy to the Yellow Trunks. Compare this guy to Metal Cooler. There was a period, this Metal Cooler first came out, where LOE was very dominant. This Metal Cooler was a legitimate option, where people were actually competing in God rank with Metal Cooler. He was that good. Trunks was able to compete in God rank when he first came out. Really strong character. And I think specifically with him being a free-to-play character, he had almost the perfect design for a free-to-play character, because he was able to enter the battlefield, nullify cover, draw a full hand, get his combo out, draw all of his Dragon Balls that he needed, and then when he died, he received death buff. He gave death buffs to the team. That's like a perfect free-to-play character design. These free-to-play characters, you're putting them on your team as either filler or secondary options. They're not going to be the characters that are carrying you to win. And so this Zamasu, who gets a significant portion of his buffs from having dead allies, like it's like counterintuitive to what a free-to-play character should be. He has some redeeming factors with his kit. I mean, he gets, what, 50% vanish back on his green card. I think his healing's actually pretty good. And to me, this is the best portion of this character. He's doing a lot when he gets hit, which I think is pretty good. Card recipe for 20 counts, this for 20 counts. To me, this is really strong. 30% damage received debuff for the whole enemy team for 20 counts whenever you take a hit. That's a decent amount of time, 20 counts. And then 30% damage received is not insignificant either. Remember, this activates off of tap attacks, quick attacks, tackles, like literally anything that touches you, that's going to activate. So you could have like 2, 3, 4, 5 instances of this debuff up at any point in time, depending on how tap happy your opponent is. But other than that, like this guy's really doing nothing almost. It feels like this is just not the way you design a free-to-play character. And I don't really know why you'd use this character other than like if you're a new player and you have no other options, right? So a bit disappointing. And then the last thing I want to mention before we go into the rant portion of the video. I don't want to call this a rant. The title might have rant in it. The thumbnail might have rant in it. I don't really rant. It's just, I don't know. If you call this ranting, I guess fine, but I don't really consider this ranting. The last thing I want to talk about is this guy's unique equipment. I don't know why. I don't know why I pulled up his character list and just read the equipment itself. So this is the equipment for the LF Red Merge Zamasu, who released back during the 3rd year anniversary, which is a year and a half ago at this point. Oh, this doesn't actually show, doesn't show like the main thing of slot 3. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up on my phone and I'll just tell you guys in case you aren't aware of what slot 3 does when it's fully upgraded. First 2 slots are pretty, I mean, at this point, every single LF character getting these unique equipments pretty much have the same first 2 slots. It's going to be some variation of 30 to 40% strike and blast attack. It's going to be some kind of variation of like 35 to 50% to defenses, some HP. And then the last slot pretty much almost always has some kind of inflicted damage, whether it's 15, 20, 25, whatever it is. But then they add a unique ability or a unique mechanic to the 3rd slot on all these equipments. And that's really what makes them quote unquote unique, right? So for Zamasu, what they gave him is restores own health by 20% if it's 50% or below after enemy attack is over, activates 1 time. And then restores own health by 20% if it's 30% or below after enemy attack is over, activates 1 time. So all they did in that last slot for Zamasu was they gave him healing after your HP reaches a certain point. But number one, if they're going to do that, they got to design this to where it's like a Mecha Frieza's heal. If you guys have played against Mecha Frieza or you've used Mecha Frieza, you know how that works. The second he gets to, I believe it's half HP, 50% HP, even if it's in the middle of a combo, he instantly heals. So the heal actually applies mid-combo. It's not when the enemy attack is over. That should have been what this equipment is, because this Zamasu, more often than not, is not going to be surviving any kind of hit, right? This character, like, you take a look at, like, all the best characters in the game's history. I don't know if I would really call this Zamasu the best character in the game when he came out. I honestly think he was close, because Red Gohan was still dominating at this point in time. But this Zamasu, I would say, was a top 3 unit when he released initially. But even when this guy came out, he was a glass cannon. You can't really say the same for a lot of other top tier characters in this game's history. Most of the time when you're a glass cannon, you aren't that great of a unit in this game. But this Zamasu had the tools to go with that. The locking green card, the anti-endurance on his main ability, his ultimate hit like a truck. He destroyed the cards, gained vanish back on enemy switch. Like he was a very, very powerful unit, really strong. But even back then, a year and a half ago when he released, he was a glass cannon. So I don't really understand the mindset of trying to, I guess, mend this character's major weakness that he's always had, which is being a glass cannon, by giving him healing. That completely doesn't make sense. Like, we are in a meta that is completely and utterly just 1,000,000% dominated by the strongest blue character we've ever seen in this game's history. And they gave this guy healing. They gave a glass cannon character healing. I would say that you're going to see instances where that actually does help you. Like, the healing can work. But with a character that's designed to be a glass cannon, I think the best way to design a unique equipment around this character is to give him abilities that will augment his role as a glass cannon, aka giving him damage. I brought this up, I think in my video, but actually I want to pull this up here. Let me scroll down. Where is 17? I think if they just gave him this ability right here, like on the unique equipment, like this would be really strong for this Zamasu. 10% damage inflicted for 10 counts every time this character uses an arts card. Honestly, they don't need the health restriction. Just do this. 10% damage inflicted for 10 counts every time this character uses an arts card. Boom. Honestly, perfect. You get rid of that. You get rid of the healing portion. You just give him that. I think it's much better. You guys want to hear a hot take? Probably. This is probably a hot take. I think removing the healing portion and just making this 30% damage inflicted instead of 20% is better than having the healing. You could honestly make the argument that just bumping this up to 25% and removing the healing is better. I would probably say so. I would say that changing this from 20% to 25% in exchange for removing the healing of slot 3 is a better ability for this character to have. That's how bad the healing is on slot 3. It basically almost does nothing. There's very niche situations where I think you will see it actually work for you. And then the last thing I'll mention about this is another reason why the healing is bad is because this is a character that is already healing every time he uses a strike and a blast card when his HP is below a certain amount. So the healing that he's getting from that last slot is basically making that portion of his kit irrelevant. Like you're like double dipping with a mechanic that he already was pretty powerful at doing. Like this guy does heal a lot already. So I don't really know what their thought process was with this. This is, I think with this Zamasu potentially having the ability to be a meta influencing unit, if he was done justice with this equipment, is more of a blunder than the whole way that they designed this green Fusion Zamasu. Just because, again, this is a free unit. He's probably a secondary option or an option for players who just don't have access to like the best characters. So yeah, this is a pretty bad unique equipment. Probably my least favorite unique equipment they've ever created because the design is just so poor here. All right, so then I guess, well, we're already 22 minutes in here. This might be a 30-minute video. I want to go into this tweet thread that I made earlier today. And this is going to encompass what I think is probably the single worst design decision that they made in this update, which is pretty crazy to say that this is not the worst design choice they made this update. Like, that's crazy. During Legends Festival, by the way. And it's just the fact of how they're handling co-op and what they're doing with the reward structure of co-op. So I'm just going to go through and read this, and then I'll talk about it for a few minutes, and then we'll close out this video. All right, so unfortunately, the quoted tweet here was deleted, but it basically was saying something along the lines of, like, people are complaining about not having anything to do, and then when they put rewards in co-op, you guys are complaining because now you have something to do, which is why I'm basically my inspiration behind creating this thread, right? Okay, so my response basically was, when the game requires you to continuously play an event that the majority of players do not enjoy to obtain certain important items / characters, that is what I would define as a poor design choice. That is the mindset. It's he said something about mindset. It's not just a matter of having something to do. Okay, when I would rather do nothing than play the event, there's a problem. They've tried so hard to improve the co-op experience, but instead of accepting that the mode is bad, they've gone the lazy route and just locked tons of stuff behind playing it over and over. They spent so much time and resources on this mode, I can't imagine it's actually worth investing all this into co-op. No idea why they continue to push this. I would really like the option to never have to play it again. They need to invest their time into other areas. At this point, I'm just going to accept that they're just arrogant or something. Yeah, we created this great mode and you have to play it whether you like it or not, right? That's that is how I imagine the discussion went when deciding to lock all this stuff behind the worst mode of the game. But it is important to note this last point. I'm not saying that having multiple game modes, even though I know most of them aren't for me, is bad. I'm not against having multiple game modes. There are people who like co-op. There are people who like TOP. There are people who like full power battle and, you know, whatever other game modes that exist. I don't like the concept of locking specific, like, very important, I would add, rewards behind certain modes. I think letting people play the way they want to play is very important, especially for Legends, where you take a look at like PvP and you take a look at like, I don't even, Tournament of Power. I wouldn't even classify them as the same game. Tournament of Power and PvP cater to completely different audiences. So somebody who's playing Legends to, you know, for PvP might not necessarily want to play Tournament of Power. Somebody who's playing Legends for Tournament of Power might not necessarily be want to play co-op, right? So I think giving people the option to play the game the way they want to play is very important for the success of this game moving forward. And this is obviously the reason why I made this tweet is because a lot of people have been discussing this in social media today. That's just because of the way the update was handled. They locked this equipment. As much as I hate this equipment, they locked this equipment to only be available in co-op. They locked, as much as I hate the Zamasu, they locked this Zamasu Z-Power. Well, a lot of it, a big portion of his Z-Power. Like, we're talking like 70 to 80,000 Z-Power behind co-op. So the only way to 14-star this character is to play co-op. The only way to get this equipment is through co-op. It's a horrible system. Like, I'm okay with them adding this Z-Power to co-op. I'm okay with them adding this equipment to co-op, but give us other ways to obtain these resources and these rewards other than just forcing people to play this mode that has, in my opinion, this mode has always been bad. They just updated the mode. I will concede the mode is better now than it was prior to the update. That's still, in my opinion, that still does not make it good. Wow, it goes from a 1 to a 2 out of 10. Like, that's good job. Amazing. Thank you. You brought it up from an F to a D+. Like, what the hell? Who cares? So to me, the best solution for this issue is if instead of locking very valuable rewards, again, this is not a character I particularly like, but if you're a new player, this is really gonna help. Like, having multiple ways to obtain this. Maybe add some of the Z-Power to Tournament of Power. Maybe add some of the Z-Power to Full Power Battle. Maybe make this equipment obtainable, I don't know, through the Raid Metal Shop or something. The PvP Metal Shop. That's pretty much not had an update in 5,000 years, right? So I don't know. It seems like a very obvious thing, but I feel like the reason why I made like these tweets in the middle here is because I feel like they're just pushing co-op so much because they realize that people don't care about it. Like, it's very strange. Do you guys think that's strange? Like, as the player base, we have, I think, very clearly demonstrated that we do not like this mode. So why are you forcing this mode? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, even if I'm trying to think of it from their point of view, like, what is the actual reasoning behind forcing your player base to play a mode that I think it's been pretty clearly established we just do not enjoy? We don't think it's good. It's boring. It sucks. Like, all these descriptive words apply to co-op, in my opinion. Again, there are people that like it, and that's fine. But obviously, a lot of people do not like it. And so I think locking certain rewards behind the mode is just not good. So that is pretty much everything I wanted to cover here. All the different points that we've had in this update for this week. I guess let me down below what you guys think about this update, how you guys have felt about Legends Festival so far. I might do a community response video to the comments on this video, just letting you know in advance, in case I run out of stuff to make videos on, because there's really nothing else to do here. But hopefully I was able to explain everything in decent detail, and you guys understood what I was talking about. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.